As Aggies come together in all parts of the world, we pause to acknowledge the many blessings that came our way in the past year. In our fellowship, we pause to remember those who are absent. May we have a deep appreciation for the great examples and sacrifices given by those of us whom we honor by silver taps or by silent mourning. We wish for strength to try to do our tasks better in service to humanity, our nation, our university, and our friends. In the trials that the last year has brought us, we take a moment to reflect on the hardships and our perseverance through the reading of a poem written originally for the 2020 muster by Greg Fink, class of 2008. We tout the Aggie spirit everywhere, to parents, peers, and anyone around the corner, sometimes stated boldly, and other times in the shadows. But what happens when our Aggie spirit is tested? When our vibrant maroon fades to white? Maybe a scholarship dried up, a tradition adapts to survive. A classroom seems darkened. Peer interaction morphs beyond recognition. Fear sets in. So we yearn for truth. We look to what we can control. We remain loyal Aggies, true to each other as Aggies can be. An Aggie still does not lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate those who do. We remember the importance to respect one another, even in times of conflict and struggle. We lead through the unknown and work to make new solutions. We recognize our privilege and try relentlessly to hold one another up. We memorialize our time together and remember those not with us. We look to our traditions as lessons about what to prioritize, lessons like service under pressure, celebrating lives well lived, or the importance of camaraderie. An Aggie is resilient and perseveres with each test. We are the 12th man, inclusive and timeless. So we look toward the horizon, tested but not beaten, and we adapt, learn, and move forward, each step more important than the next. We must not take each test lightly, for they ground us back to what we hold so dear, a spirit untouchable, unyielding, and true, a spirit that can ne'er be told. So with this, may we reflect on the lessons and strengths gleaned from this year, honor those who are no longer with us, but who will always remain with us in spirit, and allow for this occasion to bring new inspiration to all.
Good evening, and please be seated. On behalf of the Aggie Muster Committee and Texas A&M University, it is my distinct privilege to welcome you to the 2021 Campus Muster Ceremony. Whether you're here with us in Reed, in Kyle Field, or virtually through Muster Live, I hope you are able to feel the Aggie spirit tonight. I think I can speak for all when I say that this year has been a bit challenging and definitely eye-opening, and one that we will never forget. Through all of the unknowns and uncertainty, Aggie Muster prevailed, and I'm honored to stand before you today. Muster is and always will be resilient. I want to begin by thanking you all for being here tonight, whether in person or virtually. To the many friends of the Aggie Muster Committee who helped us get to this significant day, we give you our heartfelt thank you. Your time, investment, and flexibility during this dynamic time only fortified our partnerships more. Thank you. To the class of 1971, though you aren't all here with us today in person for your 50th class reunion, I hope you've been able to relive your college memories and reconnect with old friends from the comfort of your homes. And I hope that one day you'll be back in Aggieland to celebrate your reunion in person. We are so glad that a few of you could join us in Reed Arena today. To the current student body, I want to thank you for your continued support of the Muster tradition. You are key holders to this tradition, and I hope you take time to unlock the meaning behind experiencing a campus muster. To the former students joining us from all over the world, thank you. Being here and continuously supporting the Aggie Muster Committee and the tradition is what makes this place so unique. Finally, and most importantly, I want to thank our honored families for being here with us tonight. We know that this year had some added difficulty joining us, and we hope, though, you feel through the love that fills this place, that we are alongside you in your loss. There are few things harder than losing a loved one, and as Aggies, we choose not to ignore this sorrow, but rather bring it into the light. Tonight, your loved one will be acknowledged once more, gone, but most certainly not forgotten by this family. Aggie Muster represents camaraderie, loyalty, and hope. Though at its core, Muster represents an ongoing promise, a promise that ensures all Aggies a place amongst one another today, tomorrow, and always. A promise that every Aggie will never be forgotten through the roll call for the absent. Tonight, we honor that promise. Our roll call consists of incredible individuals who touched the lives of many. Tonight, we will honor the lives of Aggies spanning every chapter of life, from current students to members of the 1946 Corregidor Muster, each with a distinct story and set of passion. Each person on our roll call holds an infinite and significant place in the Aggie family forever. Tonight, we are mustering from all over the world in various formats and gatherings. From Reed Arena to Kyle Field to Muster Live, we hope that anyone watching tonight is able to feel connected to this tradition in a safe and healthy manner. To those experiencing loss, I hope tonight provides a sense of comfort, knowing that the Aggie family is standing by your side as you navigate these challenging times. To those celebrating a 50-year anniversary, I hope you are reminded of why you fell in love with this university 50 years ago. More so than anything, I hope tonight provides a sense of peace to you all, knowing that one day your name will be called and your legacy as an Aggie will be remembered as long as we muster. Each year, the Aggie Muster Committee identifies a quote from previous campus muster keynote speakers. I want to remind these halls of this year's selection. These traditions set us apart from others and gave us support and strength in a time of great trial. We are here to demonstrate our remembrance and to pledge that none of you shall be forgotten as long as there are 2 Aggies left in the world. This was said by Randy Matson in the 2000 campus muster. And with this, and with great humility and honor, I welcome you to this unique 2021 campus muster.
Good evening. It's my great pleasure to be here with you tonight for one of the most important and enduring traditions in Texas A&M University. I welcome all of you, our current and former students, our faculty and staff, our family and friends, all of those who are participating here in Reed Arena, at Kyle Field, and at regions around the world. Whether this is your first muster or just the latest in a long line of remembrances, we all understand that this is a sacred ceremony that connects Aggies across generations and geography. Each year, this event unites us in a unified ceremony and in a common spirit to honor and remember those we have loved and lost. It helps us recall, even in moments of sadness and sorrow, that we can find great comfort gathering together as a university community. Muster has a profound meaning for all Aggies, especially our current students and the families who have recently lost a loved one. This ceremony demonstrates that although our students attend classes for only a few years, they remain Aggies all the days of their lives. It shows us that although our lives are fragile and fleeting, the spiritual bond that connects us is strong and enduring. It reminds us of every Aggie's journey from howdy to here. Our current students embrace and participate in muster through their reverence for this ceremony and their service to previous generations. Last year, our students used innovation and ingenuity to help us hold the very first all-virtual ceremony. This year, we owe another deep gratitude for finding a way to bring our honored families back to campus with the larger Aggie family. The connection from generation to generation is exemplified by the fact that each year we invite the graduating class from 50 years ago to return to muster. Tonight we are privileged and honored to welcome a few of our class of 71 members back to Aggieland to attend muster with us. Welcome home. We're very glad you could make it. And we thank the class of 71 for acting as a bridge between the past and the present, as well as their steadfast support for the bright future of this university. To the families of the Aggies we honor tonight, know that while your loved ones are no longer with us, their presence will be felt forever and honored at Texas A&M. Their legacies will live on in the hearts and memories of all of those who knew and loved them, and they will endure through the lives of countless Aggies who have been inspired by their core values, the selfless service they provided, and the many lives that they touched along the way. On this important occasion, know that your loved ones will never be forgotten. Their lives will always be remembered. Their legacies will always be honored. And when the time comes and the roll is read, we will light a candle to remind us that they will always be here.
Howdy. And let me echo the welcome that you received to the members of our Aggie family here in Reed Arena, and also to those mustering alongside us in Kyle Field, and all of the state, the nation, and the world. Regardless of whether this is your 50th or first muster, or wherever you're mustering from, I hope you truly feel the importance of this tradition to us today. It's truly my honor to muster alongside you all. Those within the Aggie family know the importance of April 21st here in Aggieland, and the importance of April 21st really wherever two Aggies may find themselves. And since 1922, April 21st has been the official day for Aggie muster. And while the largest ceremony takes place here tonight on Texas A&M University's campus, we continue this time-honored and time-tested tradition alongside ceremonies at hundreds of locations across the globe. And this year, this day, Aggie Muster provides us with a few unique opportunities. The opportunity to learn more deeply about one another and to learn more about the stories and names behind those we've lost, to reaffirm our commitment to the Aggie family. But every year, as we meet on April 21st, we're also given the unique opportunity to reflect on the past year with the new perspectives we've all gained since we last met, and reflect on the year ahead of us and the trials and successes we hope to celebrate together in 1 year's time. And this year, as we do just that, we muster in both starkly different but also remarkably similar ways to that of 1 year ago today. Today, in comparison, as I highlighted earlier, we meet in multiple different formats, including right here in Reed Arena. But most importantly, we meet with an undeniably optimistic outlook for the year ahead. If you need an example, just look at how well our campus muster has broadened to meet the needs of our campus community during this time. However, what is remarkable, at least to me, is despite any one difference, the spirit today and the meaning of all of your presence is exactly as it was a year ago on April 21st, 2020. And I say with complete confidence, is exactly as it will be a year ago from today on April 21st, 2022. You see, the spirit today is exactly as it always has been. And while this will never stop being remarkable to me, perhaps it shouldn't be, to any of us, really. You see, this is all by design. The beauty of Aggie Muster is that it has never been dependent on anything more than the Aggie family. We know the Aggie family is steadfast, and as we've seen, so too is Aggie Muster. In fact, we saw the strength of our Aggie family on full display during the past year through circumstances and truly undeniable challenges that were unlike anything we've seen in generations. And yet again, through health, financial, emotional, and countless other challenges, the Aggie family proved that our strength is not just from one another, which it is, but that we are in fact strengthened by helping others. Again, this probably shouldn't be remarkable, but to me it is, because we've now made it a tradition here in Aggie land of rising to the occasion. And even more telling is that we saw the strength of our Aggie family on full display, just as we saw the strength of our traditions on full display during this past year. As portions of our lives were on pause, our traditions were anything but that. And while they may have looked differently, even month to month in some cases, again, the spirit and meaning remained unchanged. We continue to watch and stand for Silver Taps, to be present for the 12 we lost at Bonfire, and adhere to the countless other traditions that have always made up the fabric of what it means to be an Aggie. And through the challenges of this past year, we were reminded of perhaps the most important fact. It's never been about any one of us. It's always been about those we are honoring and the families of those we honor, just as it is this evening and just as it will be when our time of need comes. What is important is that we muster. What is important is that we stand on a Tuesday evening at 10:30 p.m., not where we muster, not where we stand. And so I also want to take this time to thank the students that have continued this vision and mission, especially during this critical year, and particularly Student Government's Muster Committee and Traditions Council Committee. So with all that we've overcome and all that many were forced to endure, some might wonder why we as Aggies join together tonight with such optimism. And with seemingly never-ending challenges being thrown our way, a fact that's likely to remain unchanged, at least in the immediate future, I assure you our optimism is not from naivety. No, yet again, our optimism comes from the simple truth and faith that we know, which is that the Aggie family and what it stands for is steadfast. We have faith in the core values that Aggies strive to emulate in their everyday actions, and better yet, faith that they will be exhibited outwards to the benefit of others even long after we all leave Aggie land. And we have faith in that steadfast optimism and spirit of the Aggie family. But most importantly, we have faith that those who share the spirit won't hide it, and that we'll each feel obligated and equally privileged to share it and use it as a catalyst for positive change around us. And as I close, on behalf of the entire student body, I want to offer my most sincere condolences to the families of those we honor here tonight. Our Aggie family moves forward with this infinite potential and optimistic outlook for the year ahead because of the irreplaceable contributions of the Aggies we honor here tonight. Today we honor current students who we have lost alongside former students that in some cases are separated by generations. However, in every case, we honor a life well lived, we honor a life that feels familiar, and we do so out of endless love for a fellow member of our Aggie family, a member that will forever be in our Aggie family. Please rise for the 12th man.
Texas Aggies down in Aggie land, we've got Aggie spirit to a man. Stand united, that's the Aggie theme. We're the 12th man on the team. When we're down, the going's rough and tough. We just grin and yell, we've got the stuff to fight together for the Aggie dream. We're the 12th man on that fighting Aggie team. Texas Aggies down in Aggie land. We've got Aggie spirit to a man. Stand united, that's the Aggie theme. We're the 12th man on the team. When we're down, the going's rough and tough. We just grin and yell, we've got the stuff to fight together for the Aggie dream. We're the 12th man on that fighting Aggie team.
You may be seated. Howdy. If there's anything we learned last year as Aggies and Americans, it is that when the world stops turning, the Aggie spirit continues its pace. We saw this happen when we endured the first month of the pandemic. And on April 21st, 2020, muster remained resilient, and we mustered all around the world in the comfort of our homes. Much has changed this last year, but our perseverance proves the sacred traditions of Texas A&M have only grown stronger. Of course, the best way these traditions can grow and prosper are through those who embody the core values our institution upholds. That is why tonight, I have the incredible honor of introducing our guest speaker for the 2021 muster ceremony, General T. Michael Mosley, class of 1971. General Mosley was born in Dallas and raised in Grand Prairie, Texas. He entered Texas A&M in the 1967 to 1968 academic year, marking the beginning of a long-lasting journey with the university. As a student, he was heavily involved in the Corps of Cadets, serving as the academic sergeant on the 3rd Group and 2nd Wing staff, and as a senior, 3rd Group commander, as well as he served on the cadet court. Mosley would go on to earn both a Bachelor of Arts and a Master of Arts degree in political science from Texas A&M. General Mosley completed a distinguished 40-plus year military career as the 18th Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force. In that capacity, he served as a senior uniformed airman responsible for organizing, training, and equipping over 700,000 active duty Air National Guard, Air Force Reserve, and civilian personnel. General Mosley has been inducted into the Texas A&M University Hall of Honor, and in 2013, he was also recognized for his accomplishments and dedicated service by the Association of Former Students with the Distinguished Alumni Award, which is the highest honor bestowed upon a former student. His military leadership and coalition command cooperation earned him high international recognition, including being knighted by Her Majesty, the Queen of England, and being named Knight Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. He additionally received equally prestigious awards from the President of the French Republic, the Minister of Defense of the Republic of Singapore, as well as from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. He was the first inductee into the Frontier Flight Hall of Fame in Dallas and has been singularly honored by the Mayor of Grand Prairie and by the Grand Prairie Independent School District in 2007 by having a public school named after him in his hometown, the Mike Mosley Elementary School. I'm more than thrilled to hear what General Mosley has to share with us tonight. As a student enrolled in the late 1960s, General Mosley saw what we as current students are experiencing, both on campus and in the nation. Civil unrest, political turmoil, racial tension were all central issues during the time that General Mosley attended Texas A&M. 50 years later, the country is facing a similar world, aside from the fact that we're lucky enough to not see our friends on campus enter the draft for an international conflict like Vietnam. Regardless, tonight will be a reminder that no matter how much our world is changing, one thing especially unique to all of us here tonight will never change, and that is the strength of the Aggie spirit. It is my honor to welcome General T. Michael Mosley, class of 1971.
Thank you, Marcus. Howdy, Ags. Howdy, Ags in Reed Arena. Howdy, Ags in Kyle Field. And howdy, Ags, wherever you are to hear the sound of our voices. Older Ags, current Ags, future Ags. What an honor and a pleasure it is to be able to share this special day in Aggieland and this most special event with you here at the center of the known universe, Texas A&M University. Please allow me to begin with a few thanks. Chancellor Sharp, my friend, thank you for leading our beloved university onto wonderful new horizons and unbelievable new opportunities. President Junkins, sir, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your vision, your energy. Thank you for being the president of this beloved university. A special thank you to Pat Beard, Chairman of the Association of Former Students, and Porter Gardner, President of the Association of Former Students, both dear friends and hunting buddies. Thank you for keeping the Aggie spirit and the Aggie network alive. Since 1879, the association has been the soul of this great institution, and because of your personal leadership today and the unbelievably talented association staff, Texas A&M now has the premier, the largest, and the most impactful alumni organization in the country. Gig 'em. Finally, I would like to both recognize and thank the Aggie Muster Committee for this year's gathering. You guys are world class in every way, in every way. Thank you for the time, thank you for the effort, thank you for the effort you committed to this most sacred gathering, and thank you for all the letters you've written me and the notes, the mentoring and the counseling along the way, the editing along the way. I'm honored to be a part of this wonderful ceremony, and I really appreciate the opportunity you've given me to be the speaker. So for the Muster Committee, thank you. We gather here this evening in this place for a variety of reasons. We're here both to honor and celebrate Texas Aggies wherever they may be, past, current, and future. And we're here to renew our commitment to the cherished traditions of Aggieland. Tonight, this evening, marks my 53rd muster since attending my first on the lawn of the Systems Administration Building in April of 1968. The speaker was U.S. Marine Major General W.B. Kyle, class of 36. I remember his remarks, mostly centered on his life in uniform, his combat experience in the Pacific in World War II, his impressions of the ongoing Cold War, pitting totalitarianism against democracy, the ongoing combat and fighting in Southeast Asia, and the ongoing social discord, dissension, and bitterness being experienced in the country. I've had the pleasure to attend and the honor to speak at musters in small towns, big cities, in community centers, in church auditoriums, in barbecue places, officers' clubs on military bases, as well as expeditionary locations and bunkered command centers in combat. And the characteristics of each and all of them are the same. From musters that on this day have concluded all across the Pacific, in Asia, across the Middle East, in the Atlantic, and along the East Coast to here in College Station, Aggies have assembled to not only remember and celebrate and honor those that have gone before us, as we are tonight with the families that we're going to recognize, but in the reaffirmation of the spirit of Aggieland and representing the culture and traditions that now make us who we are today, fighting Texas Aggies and citizens of the greatest country in the history of mankind. We solemnly gather tonight to remember our Aggie sisters and brothers who have passed from us, as well as to embrace those with us here tonight and recognize those that have attended those many musters across Texas and around the world. They all individually represent a cherished piece of a continuum from 1876 to this evening. And with that said, here's a special howdy to my father-in-law, Charlie Willman, fighting Texas Aggie class of 46, who is listening in tonight from Seguin over in Guadalupe County. I'd also like to highlight two of my class of 71 squadron mates, Hellcat 9, roommates that are no longer with us, David Mims and Captain Mike Crumpets. I've answered here for both of them along the way. I miss them dearly, and I want to recognize them as classmates and roommates, as also with the families here tonight as we recognize your family members. We remember the wonderful times together, the academic challenges, in my case more than most others, the maturing of young men and young women into citizens of character, the camaraderie, fish camp, corps trips, midnight yell practice, the solemn ritual of silver taps, bonfire, the day you got your ring from the Association of Former Students, the day you ordered your boots, final review, the war hymn and time with the 12th Man in Kyle Field. And for the members of the class of 1971, we remember a 1967 glorious win over TU, that smaller school over in Austin, a Southwest Conference championship, a Cotton Bowl victory over Alabama in Bear Bryant. Thank you, Coach Stallings. Let's also take an opportunity this evening to look ahead, beyond this ceremony, beyond tonight. I see a big part of my mission task here tonight is to not only solemnly and respectfully remember and celebrate our Aggie sisters and brothers that are no longer here, but to collectively share an Aggieland vision for tomorrow and beyond Northgate and the city limits of College Station. Let's all agree 2020 was a crazy, disruptive year with pandemics, storms, fires, floods, curfews, grief, homeschooling, masks and no masks, lockdowns, vaccines. I don't think we got the locusts, and I don't think we got the flies, but it pretty much got all of the other plagues. And even had an abbreviated football season. Did I mention the Fighting Texas Aggies finished 2020 as number 4 in the country? Thank you, Coach Fisher. Let's take a moment here and individually commit to a better tomorrow, a better 2021 and beyond. Let's harness the values personified in our Aggie culture and in our Aggie traditions to make our communities, our state, our unbelievably exceptional nation, and the world we live in a better place. Let's honor all those who have gone before us with an affirmation and a commitment to a better future. As Aggies, we embrace a set of values that include excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and service. From our experience here in Aggieland, we daily live the reality that all people have dignity and dreams and aspirations. We acknowledge in all our dealings and interface with our fellow students and fellow citizens, there is a real demand for civility and respect. We are the Aggies are we. And from our shared experiences here, we are not afraid of accepting responsibility or to live and to share our values with our neighbors and fellow citizens. My charge to you here tonight is to take what you have experienced here in Aggie Land and have the courage of your convictions. Have the courage to lead, to personify the Aggie values, and to be that person, be that citizen that makes a difference. A wise Air Force four-star general officer and a surrogate dad by the name of Joe Ashe, fighting Texas Aggie class of '62, once told me that one of the key foundational attributes of being an effective commander is to never walk by a problem that you can fix. I suggest that very attribute is consistent in effective citizenship as well. Tonight, remember the Aggies that we have lost this year, and let's commit to renew those shared Aggie values and to have the courage and strength of our convictions to look to be that citizen that strives to make things better, to not walk by a problem that you can fix. And that courage and that willingness to engage in the commitment to Aggie values sometimes comes with a risk. That's fine. Accept it. Embrace it. Your community, your state, your nation, and the world we live in are worth it. Given those thoughts, please allow me to tell you a quick story. As an Air Force officer, please humor me in telling a story of another Air Force Aggie that personified the finest traditions of our great school. This Aggie truly demonstrated leadership, loyalty, fearless service, and sacrifice. His name was Lieutenant Lloyd Pete Hughes, fighting Texas Aggie class of '43. He was born in 1921. He graduated from Refugio High School, entered A&M studying petroleum engineering. A few weeks after Imperial Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, Pete began his flying training and became a bomber pilot in November 1942, 2 days after he married Miss Hazel Dean Ewing. He was assigned to a bombardment group that was stationed in the Mediterranean theater and was later tasked in the conducting of Operation Tidal Wave, which was the mission to destroy Nazi Germany's oil and gas refining capability, which became the most highly decorated single military mission in U.S. history. On the 1st of August, 1943, Pete was an aircraft commander in one of the 179 B-24 Liberators, tasked to fly an 18-hour, low-level, 2,400-mile round trip from his base in North Africa to hit the largest of the refineries at Ploiesti outside Bucharest in Romania. As it often does in combat, the original plan broke down. The German defenses were alerted, and the Germans were ready to oppose the bombing mission with significant force. Pete's individual bomber suffered heavy damage on the way to the target and was leaking fuel from both the left wing main fuel tanks and the fuselage fuel tanks. Upon reaching the target area, the oil tanks, the towers, the refinery equipment were ablaze with flames that reached well above Pete's ingress altitude. With fuel leaking from multiple points on his bomber and the reality of having to literally fly through these flames to reach his target, he had the option of aborting the attack and attempting a forced landing or proceeding to his assigned target. He selflessly chose to prosecute his target alongside the remaining B-24s and chose not to jeopardize their defensive formation or the success of the attack. He chose to fly through a solid wave of flames to drop his ordnance on his assigned target. He emerged from the smoke and the flames with his entire left wing and aft fuselage on fire, and only then attempted to pull up and away in order to save the aircraft and his crew. However, the structural damage was too great and he lost the left wing. The bomber cartwheeled into the ground. Of the 10 men on the bomber, Pete and 5 others died on impact. 2 others later died of their wounds, and 2 were captured and became POWs. I share this with you because Lieutenant P. Hughes was the first Texas Aggie to receive the Medal of Honor. The citation for that award reads in part, "For conspicuous gallantry in action and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty, Lieutenant Hughes, motivated only by his high conception of duty, which called for the destruction of his target at any cost, unhesitatingly entered a blazing area, dropped his bomb load with great precision. His heroic decision to complete the mission, regardless of the consequences, in utter disregard for his own life, and by his gallant and valorous execution of this decision, he has rendered a service to our country in the defeat of our enemies, which will everlastingly be outstanding in the annals of our nation's history. The first Aggie to receive the Medal of Honor. Of the 179 bombers that launched that day, only 88 made it back, and of those, 55 had significant battle damage. 5 airmen received Medals of Honor, more than any single mission in U.S. military history. 8 months after he was killed in action, his Medal of Honor was presented to his widow, Hazel. I suspect Pete's experiences here in Aggieland were ingrained in his thinking as to loyalty to his crew, his squadron mates, and having the leadership skills and courage to prosecute the assigned mission regardless of the personal risk, as well as his demonstrated selfless service and sacrifice. He is that example of the values we hold dear and of the willingness to take a risk to do what's right. When you decide to actively make this world a better place, understand that with that decision, there are inherent challenges to overcome. Perhaps not as severe as Pete Hughes faced, but nonetheless, there will be challenges, there will be detractors, and there will be critics. As Aggies, that is what your time in Aggieland has prepared you for, to face these challenges. That is what the Aggie experience and living these core values mean. You can make a difference. You can be that leader. You can be that example to others. Take these Aggie experiences and these Aggie values and become that community superhero, whether it's volunteering in your community center, with your church, with your local food bank, serving on the PTA, the school board, the hospital board, the library board. Be that citizen with those Aggie values. And if you ever quietly question your decisions or take counsel of your critics or your detractors, remember that timeless message from President Teddy Roosevelt, spoken over 120 years ago in his In the Arena speech. Let me share a bit of that with you. It is not the critic who counts, not those who point out how the strong stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to those who are actually in the arena, who knows the greatest enthusiasms, the great devotions, at the best knows at the end of the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if they fail, at least fails while daring greatly, so that their place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory or defeat. Aggie sisters and brothers, Teddy is speaking to you today. Be that doer of deeds. Dare greatly. Exemplify respect, citizenship, civility, kindness, tolerance, selfless service. Be that leader in the community. Be that friend that reaches out to help and to support. We can all use inspiration and courage right now. We can all use bold leadership and a willingness to engage. Let me close with a quick observation. As the Air Force Chief of Staff, I would come to work every day through the front door of the Pentagon's river entrance, looking back on the White House, Washington Monument, and the Capitol, all symbols of our great democracy. I'd walk up 2 flights of stairs that lead to the 3rd floor and the offices of the Secretary and myself. Outside my office was a painting of an airman, his wife, and children kneeling in a pew in a chapel. The caption under it was a quote from the Old Testament book of Isaiah. It was very simple, it was very short, but every day that when I walked by it, I would pause and read it. I would read that biblical verse, and it would inspire me for another day in Washington. It read, "Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, 'Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?' And I said, 'Here am I. Send me.'" Those are strong, strong words, and they paint exactly the right picture for today's challenges. So my closing request of you is again, be that volunteer, be that leader, be that friend, be that living example of our Aggie values, and be that citizen of character. As we honor those that are no longer with us tonight, think of them. Raise your hand and say, "Here am I. Send me." We need you right now. Your community, your state, your country, your world needs you right now more than ever. Just like with the exemplary courage of Lieutenant P. Hughes, don't fail us and don't flinch. Before we sound taps and softly call the muster, Chancellor Sharp, President Junkins, Pat, Porter, staff of the association, members of the muster committee, thank you all for watching over our beloved Aggie land. Thank you for offering me a chance to share a few thoughts about what our cherished muster means to me and to what Aggie values, commitment, and courage can mean for our future. God bless each of you. God bless each of the families here tonight. God bless Texas A&M. God bless Texas. God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Oh, one last thought. On the 9th of October, beat the hell out of Alabama. Thank you, and gig 'em Aggies.
Howdy. What a privilege it is to be back in Aggie land for muster, what I believe is our most sacred and time-honored tradition at Texas A&M. On behalf of the premier alumni organization, the Association of Former Students, I want to thank Aggies everywhere for demonstrating the power of the Aggie spirit as we muster today. To the families of those we remember tonight, we're honored to have you with us. We sincerely appreciate the mark that your loved one has left on Texas A&M. I want to especially recognize the class of 71 who are celebrating 50 years as former students. We sincerely thank you for all that you've done and that you continue to do for Texas A&M. As we gather in College Station this evening, we're joined by Aggies around the world as we remember those for whom we answer here and celebrate the unique spirit that binds us together. Whether it's a formal event like the one we're experiencing tonight, or a gathering in a community center, or on a Zoom call, or in a combat zone, every muster event concludes with friends and families proudly answering the roll call for our departed loved ones. As we do, we demonstrate our loyalty to one another and our respect for the importance of every Aggie. Tonight, our roll call in Reed Arena and Kyle Field honors our campus community. Earlier today in Aggie Land, starting at sunrise, the full worldwide muster roll of more than 1,400 Aggies was called and answered with a "here" for every name. Muster is indeed a powerful reflection of our renowned Aggie spirit and a testament to the Worldwide Aggie Network, which includes students, former students, parents, faculty, staff, and friends of Texas A&M. Thanks to everyone here and to Aggies all around the world watching Campus Muster online or attending an in-person muster gathering, who continue to lead the Aggie Network and make muster a truly global phenomenon. The Association of Former Students takes great pride in your work, and we so genuinely appreciate your dedication to Texas A&M. I hope tonight's experience leaves each of us with a deeper appreciation for Texas A&M and the core values that guide us, the individuals with whom we've shared our Aggie journey, and our commitment to keep them always present in our hearts. Muster is a sacred promise that continues because of the dedication, reverence, and character displayed by Aggies past and present. Thank you, and God bless.
Howdy. The past year has presented us with trials unlike any we have ever faced. And while these in particular have been new to the Aggie family, trial itself has always been familiar to us. As long as there have been Aggies, for almost 150 years, we have faced down trial after trial, hardship after hardship, and emerged stronger than ever before. From the Battle of Corregidor in 1942, to the collapse of the bonfire stack in 1999, Aggies have chosen to face hardship with heads held high and arms around each other, eyes welling with tears of pride to have the honor and privilege to call themselves and the men and women around them Aggies. But what gives us the ability to persevere the way we do, the way that we always have? There are some who say that our commitment to our traditions holds us back and makes us rigid and brittle, like an old live oak ready to snap when the winds of change blow too hard. I argue that the past 144 years proved those people wrong. It is exactly our commitment to our traditions, the very things that make us who we are, that is the reason for our perseverance. At Corregidor, what did those men do in the face of certain death and defeat? They looked death in the eye, and they held muster. After the bonfire collapsed and tragically took the lives of 12 of our own, what did we do to honor them and ensure their legacy lived on? We came together as one, and we held muster. Last year, when a virus shuttered the entire world and tried to keep us apart from each other in body and spirit, what did we do? We upheld the tradition that we hold so dear, and we held muster. And now, as I speak before thousands of Aggies gathered together in body and spirit once again, we will proudly hold muster. And to the class of 1971, who faced the trials of the Vietnam War, the passing of General James Earl Rudder, and now many of whom cannot be here with us this evening to celebrate their 50th reunion, I dedicate this year's Campus Aggie Muster ceremony to you. You have spent over 50 years facing down challenges as Aggies, supporting each other through thick and thin, through good times and bad. Now, in the face of yet another hardship, I hope this dedication serves at least as some small form of support. And thanks for all you have done to make this university and this Aggie family what it is today. Without your dedication to the Aggie family and your commitment to the traditions of Texas A&M, we would not be here today. Thank you. Please stand for the Spirit of Aggie Land.
Please be seated. Roll call for the absent. In many lands and climes this April day, proud sons of Texas A&M unite. Our loyalty to country, school, we pay, and seal our pact with bond of common might. We live again those happy days of yore, on campus, field, in classroom, hall, at drill. Fond memory brings a sigh, but nothing more. Now we are men, and life is one great thrill. On Fortress Isle, 79 years ago today, a group of gallant Aggies led by Moore held simple rites which to us all doth say, the spirit shall prevail or cannon roar. They thought of home and all we hold most dear. Where are they now, those boys we knew so well? Ask of the winds, let smile repress a tear. Think only of their glory when they fell. Corregidor, forevermore a hallowed name, to countless sons of Texans yet unborn, symbolic like, it stands for deathless fame, a shrine sublime till resurrection morn. Softly call the muster, let comrade answer, here. Their spirits hover round us as if to bring us cheer. Mark them present in our hearts, we'll meet some other day. There is no death but life etern for heroes such as they.
Tonight, as we celebrate the campus muster ceremony, we represent one of many gatherings, no one more important than another. We light this candle and bring to life the enduring spirit of muster and all Aggies who we have honored throughout the years and will honor tonight. May this candle serve as representation of the collective togetherness that muster affords us and signify that spirit that flows through each ceremony and is the same. Let this spirit breathe life into the memory and legacy for all whom we softly call the muster. Will the candle holders please rise? Ryan Harrison Bowles, class of 2024. Caitlin Michelle Harmon, class of 2024. Aiden Alexander Berwick, class of 2023. Brandon Reed Williams, class of 2023. Benson Chan, class of 2022. Claudio Romero, class of 2022. Elizabeth Ann Slavic, class of 2022. Asa Thomas Graham, class of 2021. Cody Allen Reinhard, class of 2021. Priscilla Marie Sanchez, class of 2021. Victoria Annette Walker, class of 2021. Jared Cooper Glenn, class of 2020. Omari Zarik Lloyd-Drake, class of 2020. Aaron Noel Novak, class of 2020. Dr. John Adrian Perot, class of 2019. Rebecca Ann Collins, class of 2017. Lieutenant Colonel William Lewayne Lickman, class of 2002. Jack Kimball Purdue, class of 1996. Chi Wei Yin, class of 1995. Linda Diane Harden, class of 1994. Katrina Marie Marks, class of 1994. Bruce Edmonds Caraway, class of 1990. Gary Lee Keeker, class of 1989. Jeffrey Curtis Milburn, class of 1989. Lieutenant Commander Lee Hassman, class of 1988. Dr. Lawrence L. Lane, class of 1986. Gregory Scott Lemaire, class of 1986. Lieutenant Colonel David Brian Boer, class of 1983. Yolanda McCraw Rogers, class of 1982. Colonel Glenn T. Starnes, class of 1981. Dr. Mark Hudson Holguin, class of 1980. Richard Elmore Brown, class of 1979. William Joseph Avant, class of 1971. Joe Don Banks, class of 1971. Dr. Albert Dean Chomrod, class of 1971. Thomas Mann Colwell IV, class of 1971. Lieutenant Colonel Ronald R. Forrester, class of 1971. Armando L. Garza, class of 1971. Bruce N. Gossett, class of 1971. William L. Gould, class of 1971. Ronald P. Grinrud, class of 1971. Janice Leora Johnson Westmoreland, class of 1971. Irvin W. Cother, class of 1971. Melvin Timothy Leveretts, class of 1971. Dr. Gary Jerome Martin, class of 1971. Melissa Gray Moon, class of 1971. Stephen Roy Niles, class of 1971. James Mitchell Russell, class of 1971. William Charles Scott, class of 1971. George Edward Snow, class of 1971. Robert B. Terry, class of 1971. James Soterios Sisiragos, class of 1971. Michael Lee Walsh, class of 1971.
Lewis E. Warren, class of 1971. Porter Hartley Watson III, class of 1971. Brian Joseph Wicker, class of 1971. John C. Otto, class of 1970. Ruben Bassan, class of 1968. Marietta Gaffney Dye, class of 1968. Charles Malcolm Lamascus Jr., class of 1968. Roderick Moss, class of 1968. Stephen Wade Waddell, class of 1966. Sidney L. Hinson, class of 1964. James Ray Hall, class of 1963. Patrick Henry Alexander Sr., class of 1962. James Marie Ferguson, class of 1962. Ronald Ray Donaldson, class of 1961. James Terrell Rector, class of 1961. Colonel Robert Edgar Rhodes, class of 1961. William Bill Beaver, class of 1960. Douglas Carl Carriger, class of 1960. Charles Edwin Bear Mathis, class of 1960. Kirby Parker Cunningham, class of 1959. Kenneth Gale Laird, class of 1959. Colonel James Glenn McKnight, class of 1959. Billy Robert Cooner, class of 1958. Bart Garcia III, class of 1958. Dr. Walter Ferdinand Hartman, class of 1958. Leroy Hilton Jr., class of 1958. Dale G. West, class of 1957. Carl Lee Helms, class of 1956. Edward Rudolph Nolte, class of 1955. Harry Reed Shaver, Jr., class of 1955. Eldon Curtis Adelot, class of 1954. Lewis H. Gardner, class of 1954. Michael Raymond Halverson, class of 1954. Colonel Joe Earl West, class of 1954. Lieutenant Colonel John Doogie Childs, class of 1953. John Ware Jacobson, class of 1953. Dr. Charles Stevens Sachs, class of 1953. J.R. Slentz, class of 1952. Oton Tony Guerrero, Jr., class of 1951. George Young Ricketts, class of 1951. Dr. Robert J. Young, class of 1950. Samuel William Smith, class of 1949. First Lieutenant Edward Harris Mitchell, Jr., class of 1946. Jack O. Moore, class of 1945. Robert Allen Epstein, class of 1944. Cosmo Frank Guido, class of 1944. Dr. Perry Lee Adkisson. Dr. Tobias Fiedler. Dr. Joanne R. Lupton. Rosa Linda Rodriguez. Charlotte Hahn Sharp. Dr. Evelyn Tiffany Castiglione. Dr. Richard E. Wainerdy. Mark these names forever in our hearts.
Please lower your mask, extinguish your flame, and be seated. In Memoriam by Lieutenant Colonel David Harrigan, class of 1968. We stood a little taller and a little prouder then, when we heard the call of muster and the roll call just began. We stood there all together and wiped away the tears when our names were called out softly and answered with a hear. And so we've joined together with our brothers of the past to make our final resting place at Aggieland our last. We take a toast to our brotherhood wherever they may roam. For us, the trek is over. Aggieland, we're coming home.
In 1942, E.E. McQuillan, Executive Secretary of the Association of Former Students in class of 1920, sent a message to the chairman of each Aggie muster worldwide. In this message was included a traditional closing of the ceremony that has remained an integral part of many musters to this day. Walter Truitt, class of 1971, will now stand and dismiss the muster. Sir, the 2021 campus muster ceremony at Texas A&M University is completed.
I charge each of you to remain firm in your loyalty to your country and your God, to keep warm in your hearts your affection for each other and for our alma mater. The muster is dismissed until April 21st, 2022. And may God be with us all until we meet again.